Okay, this demonstration is how to set up the palette for painting. I'm going to show the paints that I use and how I set up my palette, how I lay it out. I like to use the Winsor Newton Winton oil colors. They've got a nice thick quality to them, which is good for the palette knife, which is what I primarily use. This is titanium white. It's the white I like to use. And we tend to use a lot of white in landscapes. I'll put a nice dab of white down. I'm going to set all my colors up on the outer edge of the palette so I can do all my mixing in the middle here. So I put a nice dab of white down. Next, the cerulean blue. And in most landscapes, there's going to be a blue sky or a lot of greens you're going to be mixing, so I'll put a nice dab of the blue down. And it just really depends on the size of your canvas as to how much of each color you're going to need and the particular scene that you're painting. This is phthalo blue. I'm going to put not quite as much phthalo. Phthalo is a darker blue. And it's nice for certain greens and if you want to darken your skies, make nice shadow colors, that sort of thing. Viridian green is a nice color. A lot of the greens you can mix using yellow and blue, but Viridian has an unusual color to it. So I like to use it in my assortment of paints. Most of my greens I will mix though from a combination of yellow and blue and raw sienna. Raw sienna is a color I use a lot, and it's good to buy the big tube of raw sienna just because it's good for neutralizing your mixtures so they're not so bright. Great for landscapes. So I'll put a good bit of the raw sienna down just because I tend to use it a good bit in almost all my mixtures. The yellow, you want a nice true yellow. I like the cad yellow pale or cad yellow light. You can also use lemon yellow, but this is cad yellow pale. I'm going to put it down right in the corner here. And see how everything's lined up on that top row. That way I've got a lot of area to do my mixing. The last color that's in my regular palette is alizarin crimson, permanent alizarin crimson. It's a real bold color. I like to put it away from everything else. I'll put it down in this corner here so it doesn't find its way into the other mixtures. And I'll just put a little dab down. So real quickly, just to kind of finish this lesson up, I'm going to show you my knife. I use the Lowell Cornell J16 palette knife. It's got a nice big shape. You can pick up a lot of paint with it, but it also has a tip where you can do some fine detail. When you're using the palette knife, use the bottom for everything. The handle's set up so you can hold it, and your hand doesn't get in the way. So when I'm picking up my paint, say if I'm going to mix, like a bluish sky color, I'll use the bottom of the knife to pick some up, slap it down, and then I'll get a little bit of my blue here and mix it in. And when I'm mixing my color, what I do